Resident Evil is the most iconic survival horror-based video game series of all time. It's Capcom's most profitable series, and for good reason too. It really helped popularize zombies and post-apocalyptic situations during the late 90s, and I was obsessed. A friend of mine recommended it to me back in high school, and it just has stuck with me ever since. But as we approach the 25th anniversary of the series, I'd like to examine to see if the game has actually held up well today, or if we're just blinded by nostalgia. Let's take a look.
Resident Evil.
For those unaware, Resident Evil is a survival horror game where you play as an elite police force known as STARS Alpha Team, who is looking for the Bravo team after they go missing. The first thing you'll notice here is the amount of detail in this game. It opens with a full live-action cutscene that introduces the game, and yeah, it's really cheesy today, even with an obnoxious cast list.
Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine.
These people don't even voice the main characters, they're just here for the intro. This does help segue into the first gameplay cutscene, where we all know what's going to be happening here.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is...
What is it?
Maybe it's Chris.
Yes, the voice acting. It's so ridiculous, it may just be the defining trait of the original games that people remember most. My favorite line is one that Barry says during Jill's campaign, and it's one that I still quote today.
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things. Better take it with you.
But how about you, Barry?
I have this.
Resident Evil presents the option to play as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. Both have slightly different campaigns, each with their own ability and a helper character that will show up and give you items or services. I'm going with Jill here, as she has always been my favorite character from the series, and admittedly, I first picked her because she was hot. Jill's unique ability is her lockpicking kit, which Barry, her helper character, gives her early on.
And Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Now, it's no surprise that the dialogue in this game is extremely campy, and most of it, I believe, is intentional based on just scary movie culture in general. But why does Jill not already have the lockpick? She's the master of unlocking, yet Barry has to give it to her? Is she just not coming in prepared? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Now, the core gameplay here is so successful because of its building of tension. You don't go guns blazing the clear rooms. You have fixed camera angles that focus on the player. You have tank controls which make movement challenging at first, but puts importance in its preciseness. You have a limited inventory that you have to manage that carry what you really need. These features all add to the atmosphere of the game, tension and uneasiness. The best example here is through the iconic door openings. Every door, staircase, and elevator transitions so slowly to help maintain the uneasy tension of what could be in the next room. You never know if behind that corner there will be someone waiting to eat you. You spend a lot of time checking your map to make sure that you're going in the right direction, and it's important to keep note of locked doors and save rooms. Saving in itself is even a challenge, as you have to use an ink ribbon item to save your game, which is a limited resource. Puzzle solving is absolutely the main focus of gameplay. There are a lot of puzzles in the mansion and outside areas that help further unlock previous areas. As someone who traditionally dislikes backtracking, Resident Evil offers a fresh approach that actually makes discovering the mansion secrets enjoyable. Through notes and visual clues, you want to uncover the secrets of what is really going on in this mysterious mansion. My personal favorite puzzle is in Jill's campaign early on, where you find sheet music and play Moonlight Sonata to open a secret door. Damn, I love Jill. She's so talented. Now, as much as I do enjoy this game, there are some faults that I do think it has. As a game that involves a lot of backtracking, you end up consulting your map a lot, and there's no indicator of where exactly you are in the room, just a giant glowing box that tells you what room you're in. A lot of times I ended up going the wrong way because I read the map wrong. Jill is able to have 8 item slots, and at times I felt like I was running out of space and had to go back to get items I had to store previously. Thankfully, keys get discarded when they're no longer needed, which is a nice touch. Movement can be a bit clunky, and I know this was a design choice in an earlier 3D game, so I can excuse it for the most part. Also, let's talk about the herb system. You can find herbs that can heal you. Why? The game has a first aid spray and a serum item that heals poison. What is the purpose of the herb system? Thematically, I just don't get it.
Ugh, I could really use some health. Not bad.
The story progresses further as you slowly clear the first and second floors of the mansion, only to discover more areas outside and the real reason these zombies and monsters are everywhere. Your helper character will show up occasionally and give you some sweet items or save you from perilous situations.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Other than zombies, you fight animals like dogs, crows, spiders, and oh god, giant snake! To be real, the dogs are the absolute worst. They run around too much and are hard to shoot. Gunplay is clearly not a huge focus, and it can be fun using the different guns, but at times the camera angles can really mess with you. Later in the game, the mansion gets repopulated with hunters, these big, lizard-like creatures that can really do a lot of damage if you're not careful. This makes the safety of going to previously cleared rooms fade away, while giving you a final challenge as you progress towards the ending. Resident Evil excels at keeping the player on their toes constantly, even when you think all is safe. Oh, what song will Jill play next? Oh god, it's the snake again! Ah! Eventually, you find research labs in the basement and find out that Umbrella, a secret organization, is experimenting with the T-virus to create bioweapons, which explains all the crazy creatures. And Umbrella is using STARS as bait for the monsters to destroy. It's revealed that Wesker, the leader of STARS Alpha Team, is actually a double agent working for Umbrella. Yeah, we totally didn't see that one coming. The later part of the game gives you these special choices that create branching paths for different endings. This is something that really gets expanded upon in later entries, as it only appears here during the last hour of the game. Your ending will be determined by your actions and if you saved your friends before escaping. After defeating the Tyrant monster, the helicopter that abandoned you in the intro comes around to pick you up. Remember that? Thanks a lot, Brad. I ended up getting a bad ending because I failed to save Barry, but I did get this tender moment between Chris and Jill, so that's cool, I guess. These optional choices add to one of Resident Evil's biggest strengths, its replayability. The main campaign is quite short, it only took me about 6 hours to complete, yet by doing everything possible, as well as experiencing a second character's perspective, and the higher difficulty options, there are a lot of things to revisit here. Story-wise, this game can get a bit wild, but it helps set the stage for bioweapon threats in future installments. A lot of notes you find hint at other characters, like Ada for example, that have an impact during the events of this game, yet happening in the background. These characters get expanded upon in later releases, but it's still very cool to see this level of depth within the setting.
Now, Resident Evil actually has 3 different versions of the original game. There's the original classic, and then later they released a director's cut version, which greatly changed enemy and key item locations for a whole new experience. After that, a 3rd version was released, the DualShock Edition. Of course, it adds analog support, and obviously it's the one that I have here today. But the other big notable change with this version is that it included an entirely different soundtrack than the original, which most fans consider to be a bad move today. Despite that, this game does have my favorite bad video game song of all time. Take a listen.
Okay, seriously, what were they thinking here?
Resident Evil is really a unique game. It has a lot of interesting aspects. It really helped kickstart the survival horror genre for popular audiences. Its big budget presentation, Its gameplay, its tense atmosphere, all really stick with you even when you're done playing it. I say pick this up any way you can. It still has its own merits compared to even the remake on GameCube and modern consoles, so definitely pick this up any way you can. It still gets my seal of approval. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.